Yo, YouTube, what is good? It's Aegis. In this video, I'm just gonna do a little breakdown of some of the class tuning that is coming up because there is a lot. So I just wanted to kind of like get this video out just before the tuning does hit, so that you guys can be informed about the mage buffs and a bunch of other stuff that's coming. So basically, just to start, you can see we are in the PvP section of the tuning. Master Shepherd is getting a 12% or a 6% buff because whenever you would pick this talent and you would sheep, you would get 6% verse while the sheep persists. Now that's going to be 12. Personally, this talent, I think we'll see no play still. I don't think this buff is enough. I think it's in the right direction. Like, I think 12% verse could be a good number. I think 15, I think would be like a good middle ground. But the issue with Master Shepherd still is that the sheep needs to persist in order to maintain that buff. And sheep only lasts 6 seconds. And also sheep breaks on AoE damage. So I don't think this talent's gonna be very good. I personally do not plan on playing with it. Because it's just not gonna be enough to warrant pressing polymorph. But yeah. Arcane, the high end burst damage of Arcane Mage was reduced at the release of the rework. So we're increasing the damage of Arcanosphere, as we'd like it to be a more threatening piece of Arcane's toolkit. We're also increasing the baseline damage of a few rotational spells, as Arcane's overall damage has been lower. And they also felt like Nether Tempest was not really a competitive spell. I agree with that 100%. I still don't think Nether Tempest is going to be that good. Just going to add that. But it might do a little bit more. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what Nether Tempest is taking for right now, but I don't predict that it's going to do that much more damage. It's really hard to balance these spells that do like negative damage, like under 1,000 or like 1,000. But we'll have to see how much damage that does. This is a really good change here, Arcane Orb. So this is actually huge, kind of, because the build that you currently play on Arcane is you play with Arcane Barrage, or sorry, Orb Barrage. And Orb Barrage means that like every time you throw a Arcane Barrage, if you have full stacks, you have a 40% chance to throw a barrage with that, or sorry, an orb with that. And that just means like the whole game, basically, you are having a lot of Arcane Orbs. Like, you have a lot of Arcane Orbs throughout a game. And this is going to be a very, very nice, consistent damage buff to those orbs. So, really looking forward to that. Also, Arcane Missiles got a pretty fat buff, I would say, like 7%. I already felt like Missiles was doing a lot of damage. Like, with cooldowns, I was getting 22k ticks, like, pretty easily. Could probably hit a little bit harder. Like, I think I've hit like 30k ticks as well. So yeah, definitely excited to see Missiles damage buffed, as this is like one of your main sources of damage. The Arcanosphere damage increase is interesting. I'm not sure. But you do kind of have a free PvP talent when you play Arcane. Like, you play Mass Invis, which is kind of a lock. Then you play Ring of Fire, which is also a lock. And then you have this third slot, which is either like Temporal Shield, I guess Master Shepherd if you want, or like Arcanosphere. So or Klepto. So in those cases where you take Arcanosphere, maybe it will actually be worth like charging this up more. Maybe you can actually use it for damage. Arcanosphere is really nice to like hit people through pillars and stuff when they're lining like on your cooldowns. So yeah, maybe the damage buff will make it actually like that third talent choice more often. So we'll have to see. But either way, big W for Arcane Mage. Big W. Fire, we're offsetting a few recent damage reduction adjustments and greatly increasing the damage of Living Bomb with the goal of making it a viable talent. So Pyroblast damage increased by 18 was 12. It's a 6% buff to Pyroblast. Although, like I said, it's an offset from a few of the PvE nerfs that they just made go through for PvP as well. So Pyro did just get nerfed by like, actually, I don't know if Pyro got nerfed. Anyways, we got a 6% buff on Pyro. That's what I do know. We got a 5% buff on Fire Blast here. Before anyone's like, what? Fire Blast got nerfed? No. Okay, it's reduced by 3%, was 8%, so it just got reduced less. It was reduced by 8, now it's only reduced by 3, which is a 5% buff. Phoenix Flames also got this is a weird number, 6% buff. I mean, that's going to obviously help with our consistent damage. These abilities are your 3 primary ways of dealing damage, other than Fireball. So that's huge. Personally, I would have really liked to see the fire survivability addressed a little bit. Like, the damage is obviously very important as well, because it doesn't matter if you can live if you can't kill people. But I do think a really good place to start with fire, to make it more of a viable spec in 3s, will be to unnerf the barrier. Currently the barrier in PvP has a 25% modifier on it. It's only 75% effective in PvP as fire. So your barrier is actually 25% smaller on fire. And the reason why this is because in Shadowlands, you would play a talent that every time you would blink, you would get a barrier. So they nerfed fire's barrier for that reason. And it still has not seen an unnerfing since that. So I think they really need to address that, especially because fire is struggling with survivability very heavily. And then this part is interesting. Living Bomb damage increased by 300%. I mean, as of right now, you don't even take any of the Living Bomb talents. You don't even take Living Bomb itself. The ability is just so worthless that I'm not even sure a 300% damage increase is going to be enough to even make it worth. Like, I don't think this is going to do anything, but I could be wrong. We'll see. Either way, fire, big buffs as well. W. Now we got Frost here. We would like Ray of Frost to remain a threatening cast, but still feel like it's slightly more lethal than we like. I will agree with that. Frostbolt damage has fallen behind other options, so we're increasing its damage to reward casting. Snowdrift's activation has felt too difficult for the amount of risk involved, so we're reducing the time to trigger the stun. So I'm actually very surprised Ray only got a 10% nerf. I'm actually very surprised. I'm not sure how to read this, because basically what Cryopathy does is it increases the damage of your Ray of Frost by 50%, but it was 60% effective and now it's only 50%. So I don't know if that's actually a 10% nerf, or is that like, yeah, I'm not sure what this equates to, but either way, this isn't as big of a nerf as I thought we were going to see to Ray. So I think Ray is still going to be extremely powerful. Frostbolt got a 50% buff, so that's going to be huge. We're most likely going to be playing the Frostbolt build with no Glacial, but we'll have to see. I'll be doing a lot of testing on Tuesday. And then the Snowdrift activation, I mean, this is troll as fuck. Like, Snowdrift, guys, come on. Like, bro. Snowdrift has a lot of issues. You have to be in melee range. Every kind of like movement ability in the game resets it, so yeah, there's a lot of things wrong with Snowdrift. I don't think 1 second less to activate it is going to do anything or make it see any play at all. But yeah, kind of sad to see that this wasn't reworked. It's cool that they're looking at Snowdrift. I just wish that maybe make it like a ranged ability. Maybe they could make it like a ranged instant stun that only works on targets who are frozen. That could be something. Or if you have a Fingers of Frost proc. Yeah, it could like freeze the target in like a deep manner. Like it could free. Anyways, that's about all of the mage changes, but that's all I'm going to go over. If you guys want to look at the other changes, I will leave the link in the description. And yeah, let me know what you guys think. Pretty excited for all these. I think the game is going to be in a much, much better state for all classes. And yeah, let me know what you guys think. Peace out.